Um, I just feel bad every time I win against Scientology Vessel. I feel like I'm chipping away at everyone's soul. So sometimes I feel like I should throw. I don't like winning against. Really, honestly, I don't like winning against anybody's team because I always feel like I'm hurting them as a person. I don't know why.
Oh, I always feel immense pressure to succeed the next week.
Oh, yeah. Well, because you're playing on A teams though. That must be you must go against some hard people because I know that there's people that are like barely in the MMR range.
I think some of them are maybe some of them seem lower than the MMR range, some of them seem higher. I don't know. And
Anyways,
let's see, how many people are watching so far?
this
Jack
series
is
is pretty
Jack is way
silly.
louder. Is he though? Only got 6 viewers. That's good. Got 6 people to tune in. Got 6 whole human beings to tune in and watch this.
Here, let me turn my mic down more. Here, I wonder if that'll be better. Also, Monkey, you're really demanding here for somebody who doesn't sub to Nina. I don't know. I don't know what you think. I mean, like, I'm not sub to Nina either, and she doesn't have a sub button. But
I don't have a
that being
sub button.
aside, you need to watch yourself, buddy. Anyways, so on the top
Everybody,
right hand corner.
everybody should get Discord. Yeah, top right is Prodygy, and
Yeah,
you're gonna be
he's
playing as
representing
ZVZ with him. Oh yeah,
Scientology
he's
vessel.
of course. And
And
then you're
and
down
then bottom
here,
right is me with the clever
and
name Sham as well. Haha,
haha, it's like
so good.
Sham. It's like also Sham.
Yeah, pretty good. Anyways,
Well, anyway, 'cause, Prodigy for ZVZ on this map normally scout towards the closest natural, but Prodigy decided to send his overlord to the top left. Should be the, I guess it was not the closer main, but it's a main.
yeah,
And he
it
went
was
out
kind of
12 hatch
funky.
in base versus your, what is this? 12 hatch out
Out of base. Yep.
base. And he went to good drone scout, which you can do, but you don't really need to do it. I mean,
Yeah,
if you're
it's an interesting choice. If you're going 12 patch in base, like I definitely think it's like a good decision put for a lot of people if you do it when you're doing out of base, but 12 hatch in base, the idea behind it is to be safer and still get the 12 hatch out anyways. So like theoretically you should be able to defend a 9 full speed with the in base without having scouted it with a drone. So
possibly, it depends on, because usually the 9 pools will hit. It'll hit before your pool actually is ready to make the zerglings.
yeah, it is hard to deal with it if you don't get a scout with either of your overlords on the zerglings coming across or anything like that. But when you do in base, so you can still throw down that creep tumor or creep colony or
Yeah,
whatever, and then
you
warp it as soon
you
as
do
the
have
thing is
ways to
finished.
buy yourself a bit of time here and there, and but it's good against like 12 pools, pretty popular these
Hmm.
days, and so it's a
So
good opening against 12 pool.
this game, Prodigy went for speed first, and I went for layer first. So we already have a bit of a divergent build order here.
Mm.
Um, I kind of like going a layer first in ZVZ when you go 12 pool because if you're up against a 9 pool, your layer is going to be too late. Um, so I generally go layer first, but it does delay my speed here quite a bit. I just didn't know what he was doing because I did not drone scout.
Yeah, generally you would think your opponent would go layer than speed, but he might have just got some coaching advice, said, hey, just go speed, pump out the lings, and you're making some good colonies. I don't know if you really
Yeah,
need...
this is
Yeah, actually you do need that many.
well. I went for 3 originally, and I kind of saw him pull back, so I didn't think I needed them. But then I realized he went for just a lot more lings than I had
Yeah,
originally assumed, so I probably
he should
shouldn't have
be
canceled
really
it.
cranking out the lings. He should, yeah, he should be going for your Spire instead of... Oh, and he got it. Oh my god.
Yeah, this is a pretty rough game. Especially since he has a speed advantage on me, like the timing of the speed, it was
He just left your
rough.
base. He's just like,
Yeah.
well, I'm out.
Yeah, it was interesting. I would have liked to see him harass the drones on the gas or something like that. Like I know he didn't have very many wings or anything like that, but he wasn't in a position where he really needed to save the wings at all. Because he was again on the 12 hatch in base, which is going to keep him a lot safer than having a 12 hatch at the bottom of the ramp. Because he does use the ramp pretty effectively here to defend himself from my attack here, and he has a sunken up in the base already. So if I were him, I wouldn't have been so paranoid. He could have even potentially not made as many wings, but I think it was overall a good idea because he knew he was in a pretty good spot economically.
Yeah, I think for you,
Ah,
since you're doing 12 hatch, I think it would be like you have the economy to go spore, and since he's got 1 gas, he has to expand to get
versus
his
my
second
2.
gas. So yeah, so you could go spore and make up for some lost ground here. I just want to comment on his base design, which is kind of seems like the buildings are just kind of put down at random. Just as general advice for if somebody's playing ZBZ, some advice I would give is that where you place your buildings is pretty important. So
Yeah, like if his
I guess
pool had been in the
we'll
top
talk
right,
about that a little bit later, because
his sun could protect his line a lot better, I think.
oh, hold up, there's mutas in your...
But yeah. So I didn't put my muta or my spire down quite as fast. Because I was, I got the initial one sniped. So I had to kind of improvise my build order a little bit there. And I figured it was more important to produce lings and potentially do counter damage than it was fire up. But I think I was getting up a Evo chamber.
Yeah,
But
I saw that
it was a little late.
So that at the natural. So I have the whatchamacallit, the overlay set to show the team score. So right now I don't have to update anything.
So this next game actually was my first time ever playing Aztec, but I love this map. It's really cool.
I actually played this map a bunch during, I think, like, I don't know, some of the years kind of blend together, but I want to say 2014 or something.
It's really interesting. I'd like to see it in the map rotation.
So anyway, since the colors are pretty simple, well, you can see the colors at the top if you're an observer, but if you're colorblind, these two colors can be hard to tell apart. This color that nobody knows what it is for some reason, it's actually peach. And the reason I know is because Crayola they would always put the names of their he's going for pool. Crayola put the names of all the in between colors, shall we say, because you have your primary colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and then in between them there you have different hues and different shades. And so this is actually peach.
So I got
Of
pretty
course.
lucky here.
Yeah.
Going for the 9 full speed. I like to do 12 hatch a lot more than I like to do 9 full speeds. But I figured I'd just switch it up, and I'm kind of pretty glad I did here, because I would have totally died to this had I not gotten here.
Yeah, 9 pool generally beats 4 pool, so that's most people don't do it in ZVZ. I would say if you're gonna do it on a 4-player map, because that's usually where people are gonna go 12 hatch. I don't know if going 12 hatch is necessarily the best idea on a 3-player map as opposed to 4-player map, but at the same time, I've seen people go 12 hatch on 2-player maps, so I guess it's a thing that's applicable. But in this
I got
case,
pretty lucky here as well, with getting the scout first, because I actually didn't know what direction to scout where the natural would be, so I got a scout on his main. But that's CPL for you. I'm not
it's all about learning.
But
and
I'm not sure
you can
retreat here is
it
a good
doesn't
idea.
matter. It doesn't really matter if you can if the trades are unfavorable to you at this point, because he's gonna be so far behind in terms of his gas. I mean, he can still pump the same number of lings as you, but but you're gonna have your speed out quicker. You're gonna have your layer quicker, and your layer's about half done. Did you get speed first? Yeah, you did. Okay. Okay, so now your speed is done. And since he has to attack all the way from over here, go all the way around here, go all the way up this ramp, and then around here, your reinforcements are going to be much quicker, and so that's going to spell disaster for him.
Yeah, I felt like I was in a pretty comfortable spot at this point in the game. But
you really
I wasn't
don't need
totally
the creep
sure.
colony.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, I know now, but
well, you could infer this from the Overlord, because you're like, okay, he went for pool, or did you know he went for pool? Do you know the timing? Like,
no, I knew it was not a 9 pool because
okay,
I saw the lings get out much more quickly than mine, and I had gone 9 pool, so I figured it was something around like an early pool, but I didn't know if it was 4, 5, 7 pool. So
okay, well, you can generally assume it's a 4 or 5 pool.
But yeah, like had I known, I probably would have pushed with lings. He really doesn't have a good number of lings here, but I was kind of paranoid at the point that we were at in the game. But this is kind of an interesting decision by him to throw down this additional hatchery here. I think he knows that he's behind in tech, and so it's pretty obvious that he's not going to be going for a layer at this point.
He's got he's got 2 options. He can go speedling all in, or he can go Hydra. But one thing I want to note about this particular base is the minerals are not in this main, or not against an edge of the map. So his air defense has to cover the middle of his base, behind the minerals, and then everything to the right of his hatchery as well. Which means he has to make a lot of spore colonies to actually cover everything.
Yeah, which he's I mean, like, he doesn't have any coverage right now really for this hatchery here. So if I went super hard on the Mutalisk, I could have probably done like killed that right away. But my
you could
ZVZ is
kill
pretty
the
timid.
pool too.
Yeah.
It's out of range. Like the pool is actually in the range, but your Mutalisk would be firing from outside of the spore colony range.
Yeah, I'm not. Unfortunately, I'm not a very confident Mutalisk user. So like when I see the amount of static defense that he has and stuff like that, I generally speaking will stop trying to harass a main. Just because my control's so bad, it's like not worth it to try to micro as that hard. Because it's going to affect my macro.
Ah, okay.
Like it was probably like I could probably just park them, right? Like with a hold position and attack those attack that hatchery and that pool and all that. But as you can see,
I don't
starts
know
to
if you
get
should do
Hydra
hold
out.
position, because it takes a lot of shots to destroy buildings already, and if you start doing hold position, rather than moving or attacking, I should say, the actual structure, it's gonna spread the shots out. You're gonna end up
Ah,
hitting like larvae and stuff, because hold position spreads.
right. I see that. I didn't actually think about that at all.
Um, yeah, good
Yeah.
thing
So I
to
saw
do would be just to chop the overlord down.
the Hydras though, and I was like, okay, so we're good for a little while here. I figure Hydra in such small numbers gonna not do very well versus needling. And so at this point, I'm just gonna push across the map to try to kind of keep the Hydra numbers down because I know eventually Hydras do pretty good versus Mutalisks, but in low numbers they really just kind of suck.
Yeah,
Um,
it really, it's like it's almost like doing against Marines, but so if they don't have their range, that's when they're not really that good. So even if they have speed, they're just not that good. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's not bad mutilator.
yeah, it's not terrible. I'm not like super confident. I've been practicing on Muta micro maps a lot, but
Oh, it does
I
ruin the
still
spores though.
yeah. I just figured if I could kill his attacking units, my lings could do some damage, but I ended up losing more than I thought I would.
Oh, it was a good idea. Because I generally feel like that's the right logic. Because, you know, if your units are working together, they're going to be more effective than, you know, just doing their own thing, which is actually one of the bigger challenges in ZVC, is just getting your mutas and lings to work together well.
Yeah, but so he at this point, I killed basically his whole army, so I know his Hydra numbers are reset. So at this point, I feel pretty confident in just expanding and working on my economy a bit. I should be droning up here and kind of getting everything kind of good to go once again on the economic side. Um, and I felt at this point, I felt like it was almost a unlosable situation. So it'll get kind of funny in a minute here.
It is, it's not as good for you as you might think, because, normally what you want is, let's see, you actually don't have your upgrades going. Do you have upgrades on your mutas?
No.
Okay, let me think. Well, against Hydra, armor is still gonna be the better option. But,
Yeah,
I
because
guess you could,
they do their armor's doubly effective versus Hydras, right? Because they do half damage versus Muta.
yeah.
This is a
So,
little overconfident. I think my Mutas were a little too bruised to be doing this kind of micro because I wasn't
well,
using the cliff very well.
yeah, I was gonna say, if you just kind of baited them closer to that ledge there,
Yeah, it would have worked out a lot
it
better.
would Yeah, it'd be harder for him to get effective shots. I'm not sure why he's pushing out just yet. He doesn't have,
Enough Hydra.
he doesn't really have enough stuff.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by this, but my Ling reinforcements are fine. He didn't really have enough to do too much damage. Like if he pushed in the
Oh, now
main,
that
the
the
Sun
Sun
would take.
Colony's coming in handy now.
Yeah,
It was just good
it
foresight.
didn't do very much for a while. But yeah, so he's getting his expansion up now. And when you're on 2 bases with 3 hatcheries, Hydras start to become a much more powerful option. You're able to power them up a lot more quickly, especially when you have that second mineral line to work with. So I felt a little pressure to do some damage here, just to make sure that his Hydralisk numbers didn't get out of control while I was doing what I was doing.
Well, one way to, if you feel like the Hydralisk numbers are getting out of control, one thing you can actually do is go Lurker, because Lurkers do a lot of damage to Hydralisks. Because
yeah.
again, if you think about if you think about this almost like a ZVT, because that's kind of what this is. The closest thing I can relate it to would be like Marines versus Zerg. Lurkers still do a lot of damage to Hydralisk, just like they do to Marine.
Well, in this specific game, I like to do kind of funny stuff when I play CPL games because I know that they're going to be casted and people will watch them. So I resolved to make my favorite unit. So we're working on that tech path right now. So I wanted to do it. I do a lot of stupid stuff like this for CPL games. I just think it's more fun that way. It's not that I don't like take them seriously. Like I definitely try when I'm playing against my opponents. I like to do flashier things and stuff like that just for kicks.
You hear that, Kix? It's just for you.
You know, I'm trying to win his heart, but he won't let me. He doesn't want me.
He doesn't want me to win his heart either. I'm trying
He's
so
not
hard.
emotionally available.
I'm trying so hard to win his heart. I was like, and he was just like ignoring me.
Snubs you. He's like a cat with like food.
He has a cat.
Is he a cat?
He's a cat in real life.
Oh,
Have you seen his
that's weird.
stream?
I have. He does a good, convincing human impression.
No, the human actually is just Kix is actually the cat, and the human is just an animatronic thing that
that's
he
creepy.
uses. Yeah.
This cat must have not played Five Nights at Freddy's, man. Animatronics are never a good way to go.
I've never played Five Nights at Freddy's.
You know, I actually own all of them. Because I buy like anything that I've been remotely interested in on Steam. When it goes on Steam sale, like for example, I'm sure I'm gonna spend like $300 on this Steam sale or something crazy, just because it's a problem. It's like an addiction. I played like maybe 20% of my Steam library, but yeah. So I own them all, but I've never played through them yet. It's a condition. I'm like a stay-at-home wife with like Amazon shoes.
I'm like the opposite. I'm like the stingiest person on Steam. Like people tell me to buy People tell me to buy games on Steam, and I'm like, "Don't worry, I'll get it." And then like a year passes. Like, have you got it yet? And I'm like, no.
Anyways, so I like cracklings a lot.
Zorglings. I was wondering what you'd mean by your favorite unit.
Yeah, so my favorite unit composition I'll be using to finish the game out. But yeah, I like cracklings, and then and I really like ultralisks. They're my 2 favorite units in the game.
Did you make ultralisks?
Not yet.
Oh, you got a.
There is an ultralist den going down in my main though.
Okay. Ultras are pretty bad in ZVZ.
I know. Hydralists just deal with ultras so well in this game.
The lurkers will do, like, it's not just a Hydra thing, like, cracklings are really good against ultras, Hydras are good against ultras, lurkers are good against ultras, obviously anything air is good against ultra, queens can broodling ultras.
That sounds so sad. Dude, if you would have broodling my ultralist, I would have been really upset. I didn't even think about that, but you can broodling everything that a Zerg player has.
So Lil Shava says lurkers aren't that great against ultra, to be honest. I don't know, it's kind of like, it kind of feels like a bigger Dragoon without range. Without, oh, now you got your carapace just now. I was gonna be like, where's your upgrades, brah?
Oh, for the wings, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Krakens are so ridiculous.
Well, there's a certain point where, the sunken colonies are no longer effective against things. I don't know what the actual number is, but you can stack up a ton of sunken colonies and they just don't do anything.
I keep losing these overlords to these friggin' war colonies is really annoying. Because they're the
Yeah, it was attached to the
overlords that I
mutas.
attach with the mutas. Yeah.
You got 60 population. Kinda, you built one ultra. You can't really afford ultralists on one gas.
I know. It was. I mean, I just wanted to make ultras. Okay. Well, that was fun. I'm just glad I got to make ultras in a ZVZ.
That means we'll have a game 3 on match point. Yeah. Okay.
I love the Guile theme, man. It's one of my fucking favorite video game songs of all time.
What is?
The Guile theme.
I didn't know what you were singing, actually.
Oh man, that makes me sad. Guile theme's like the most nostalgic
No, I couldn't
video
tell
game
what
song
you were
ever.
thinking or singing.
Wow, rude. Wow. I see how it is. Okay. Maybe you're just tone deaf. How about that?
I am.
Okay. Well, now I feel bad.
You should.
I'm not an ableist, I swear.
I don't think I'm tone deaf. I'm just like hard of hearing. So I got the restaurant colors here: Prodygy's mustard and your ketchup. He's rubber
how I
and
feel
your
about
glue.
that. I feel like ketchup is like such a pedestrian sauce, but it like goes with everything. And then mustard's like this like fancy sauce.
Pedestrian sauce.
But like, I
Oh
don't know.
my god.
I can't be like a upper crust elite as ketchup, right? But you can totally be like a whole grain like Dijon mustard, right? I think the fanciest ketchup I've ever had was in Washington, and for some reason, all the hipsters in Washington put lemon in the fucking ketchup, so it like always tastes like fancy. And you're like, "Ooh, what is this?" Oh, it's just that people in Washington put lemon in their ketchup all the time. But it is pretty tasty.
Do.
Have you ever had lemon ketchup? It's actually pretty good.
It sounds nasty.
No, it's better than normal ketchup on fries. Like, no joke. It's not a lot, right? It's just like enough to give it like a little bit of extra something something. It does feel fancy though.
I don't like ketchup though.
You gotta eat everything with ketchup in Washington with your pinky.
I only like ketchup on burgers. Or burgs, as they're now known.
Burgs?
Yeah, just burgs.
You know, where I'm from, we call them steamed hams.
Steamed hams? Why do you call them steamed hams when they're obviously grilled?
Anyway, so I do the 9 speed again.
He went 12 hatch.
I like to pull off of gas as soon as I get speed, because I like to produce lings.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Immediately,
yeah.
as opposed to delaying the lings.
I was gonna say for a second I was thinking of, for some reason in my head I was thinking about 12 hatch, and I was like, oh, if you go 12 hatch, you don't need to pull off yet. But yeah.
Yeah, so you have the option of pulling off gas immediately after you get speed, which doesn't delay your next couple sets of lings, or you can hold off on your next few sets of lings and leave them on gas to get your layer up faster, but you do need to pull one off after you've gotten on layer if you do that. But Prodygy set himself up pretty well for defense here. Already has a sunken morphing.
That hatchery at the bottom is not
closed, yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah, but I mean, it is 2 hatch versus 1 hatch, so he does have the larva advantage, even if he isn't going to have the speed advantage, because he went for a layer first, as he probably should versus a 9 pool.
Big advantage right now.
Yeah, I unfortunately wasn't able to get any damage done. Yeah, I'm probably pretty screwed here at this point, because I really did need to do damage, unfortunately. So at this point, I know I'm super behind. So riskily, I decided to make a pop of drones, and I was just hoping that he stayed in his base. Because I mean, I feel like when you're in a position where you're basically dead, you have to kind of do something risky here to get back in the game. So I thought maybe if I go super hard on the economy, and he just never realized, or he never got aggressive, I might be able to get back in the game. But unfortunately, especially if you go 2 hatch versus 9 full speed and you don't immediately die to it, you can just pump lings for forever and get a you don't even necessarily have to go Spire. He could have thrown down an Evo and just pumped lings and just killed me with an overwhelming number. But he did not end up doing that.
He could even make Ultralust.
I recommend the Ultralist path personally. I feel like that's the classy way to win ZVZs. That's like the mustard way to win ZVZs. It's no ketchup Mutalist, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Mutalists are gross. I really think you should put your Spire in a different spot.
Yeah. Probably like in between where the gas and the top minerals are. Not like right there, but like so I could protect it with my drone line with drone drills and stuff like that. Yeah. But
it's too much mustard in your natural too right now. You know, this map is kind of gray. It's kind of burger-like. Oh, that reminds me. I got some hamburger de-thawing in the fridge. Don't let me forget about that. Hamburger de-thawing in the fridge.
Oh, okay.
I gotta.
Are you steaming some hams tonight?
No, I'm gonna use it for burrito meat.
Oh.
So I'm
You know
gonna.
what people don't eat anymore? I don't know why. Because they're fucking delicious though. Is sloppy joes. Why does no one make
Oh,
sloppy joes anymore?
I don't know. I mean, we do in my household.
I used to eat them in the 90s all the time, and it's like everyone just forgot about them. Like sloppy joes fell off or something. Like boy
I
bands in the United States. I don't understand.
I don't know. I think it's like quote unquote a redneck food. You know, actually,
Yeah. It's
like
no
I said,
mustard.
I
That's for
mean,
sure.
it's hamburger and ketchup,
Este
which
carne,
actually
este rata.
you can put more stuff in it too. You can. Oops, that's an excellent camera work by me.
Oh yeah. It's okay. You
Oh
can
yeah,
miss me not canceling my natural expansion there. That's
you
totally fine.
I saw it. Not the most effective use of Scourge by him. He probably knows.
Yeah. They all suicided on the first muta that I right clicked in there. Pretty dope.
Yeah,
Not gonna lie.
if you don't practice cloning, it's not easy.
I feel like
But
cloning is a really an easy skill to practice, right? But doing it in high pressure situations like that, when your scourge are all grouped up and the mutas are coming at you, is very difficult to do
they were
quickly.
too close to actually clone that closely. But he had to, at the same time, he had to know. Excuse me, the Velociraptor, that your mutas were coming back. That just makes sense.
I was trying to be kind of cute here and focus down individual mutas here, so I didn't so I could take
that's the
a
way to do it.
potentially, you know, advantageous fight despite the mutas number advantage here. Because if you micro correctly versus mutas, and you focus down individual ones while microing back and forth, the slaves get spread around the mutalists and they die a lot slower. But I probably should have tried taking the fight near to an overlord to continue to reduce the number of mutalists that were, or a number of glaive bounces that were hitting my mutas. But at this point, I was pretty dead. He's got such a healthy drone count at home versus my very unhealthy drone count. Oh my gosh.
Well,
Watching Scourge, did you see that? Did you see what those Scourge did? It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I hate Scourge. They're the dumbest units in the game.
If you do get into a situation like this again, you know, the thing to do would be to constantly be sending Zerglings to go around and try to backstab them.
Yeah, one of the reasons why I was having a hard time with it is the way his base was set up, and I knew that there was the sunk in there, so I didn't feel like I could be too effective with Zergling backstabs. But
it's not about what you would do is you would go in and you just go and you pick off drones, and you're gonna lose your Zerglings, but
keeps his mutas at his side.
it's gonna cut his economy down, and then if you constantly do that, then you can get on equal footing because you also will have 2 hatcheries.
At this point, I was trying to get another hatchery up. I really wanted to get onto a 3 hatchery and go just
You put that down like 7 times. I'm gonna say 7.
Okay. I don't know. I felt like in the position that I was in, I wasn't going to be able to effectively get myself into the air game very well. So I really wanted to get down a 3rd hatchery and kind of put myself on a unit advantage on the ground game. but I wasn't actually in a terrible position in the air war because he started to produce a lot more zerglings. So I could have stayed on Muta and potentially had a better time defending with this large number of mutalisks or large number of zerglings coming on the ground. Like I'm not totally equalized here, right? Obviously he has a healthier drone count, but I felt like at this point in the game I wasn't in a terrible position.
No, not at all.
But it was unfortunate that I threw away both of those hatcheries. I wasn't able to cancel them because I was too busy microing my mutalisks, which is I think is just a very silly mistake on my part.
I don't think you even should have gone for the hatcheries.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
tried to make the hatcheries.
I thought I was so behind that I needed to do again something extreme, but he just kept getting like single live mutalisks in my base, like uncontested, and I just kept losing drones. So at that point, I was like, well, it's over.
Oh. Alright, well, good game.